What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Going to talk for the second video I've done today on the welterweight division. My favorite weight division in boxing throughout my time as being a boxing fan. My favorite fighter is in the heavyweights, but my favorite division to watch is the welterweight division. And right now we have a very, very good crop of welterweights. Probably, in my opinion, the most stacked division in boxing. But it's one in where the top fighters, with the exception of, I think, two, don't want to fight each other. And it's a real shame. But the one guy, the one belt holder, Keith Thurman, got stripped. I'll no longer say that he was that he vacated his belt. He was stripped of the WBC belt. And as a result, Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia were ordered to fight. So that for me is a good thing and a bad thing. And I'm going to cover that. But the short of what I think is that the winner of that will be the one that takes the honor of being the next guy to duck Errol Spence Jr. And until these guys actually change their mindset about what they want to do with what they think is important in the sport of boxing, the welterweight division will underperform, in my opinion. Now, before I get into that subject, also in Shawn Porter, the lead into it that made me start this conversation, that Shawn Porter believes the Danny Garcia fight will happen in the fall. But like I said, if either one of these guys win, it doesn't matter until they decide that they're going to change their plan to become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Then I don't care who wins. And honestly, having stripped Keith Thurman would make no difference whatsoever, because whoever it is that's sitting on a belt, trying to be a bit of a prima donna, concerned about what their long-term career plans are versus making the best fights happen, taking the best fights possible for the fans, and to prove themselves to be the best guy in their weight division, then who cares who carries that belt, because that belt doesn't signify who the man is. The belt just signifies the guy that, that the sanctioning body gave a copy of the belt to. But it won't stand for the guy that is the best fighter, because the only way that you're going to know who the best fighter is if that guy beats the rest of the other great fighters or the other champions in the division and the top contenders in the division. And that's something you have to do, fight in, fight out. So anyway, before I do that, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, because we do these live streams. I'm definitely going to do the next live stream we're going to talk about Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn fight happening. Of course, you got Errol Spence Jr., the welterweight fight between Errol Spence Jr., the IBF champion, and Carlos Ocampo, the fighter from Mexico, who is the challenger, the mandatory challenger for Errol Spence Jr. And then, of course, Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter. Now, that covers all the belts with the exception of the WBA, and the WBA champion is Keith Thurman, who's been MIA for a while, and we'll see when he actually shows up in fights. So anyway, the best way to get notified of those of that live stream is to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of it, because I don't have them at a set time a day. It's just pretty much whenever my schedule allows me to get to it. So I hope you accept my invitation to attend. And also, I want to thank you, as usual. Thank you to the super chat people that donate and help us raise money for the cause we raise money for, and also the Venmo and everybody else that Patreon, everybody else that supports the channel. Thank you so much. Now, anyway, so as we move forward, Shawn Porter believes Danny Garcia fight will happen in the fall. With Keith Thurman no longer the WBC welterweight champion, the title is now up for grabs between their two top-rated contenders, former belt holders Shawn Porter, who held the IBF belt, and Danny Garcia, who held the WBC belt. Porter has made it very clear recently that he yearns for this particular matchup, but as of yet, he is yet to be contacted by the WBC. I can say that we've been informed by the WBC. I actually have not made a call to the WBC, and I'm not positive if my dad, Kenny, has either, he told BoxingScene.com. But I can tell you that this fight is going to happen. Myself and Danny Garcia, we don't know when or where, but this fight is going to be the next big welterweight matchup this year. So does Porter think that Garcia will finally be amenable to making this fight? I do. I think he's game for this fight. For a very long time, I've always considered what it would take for Danny Garcia to fight me, understanding the incentives he needs to fight me. And I think now, coming off that win he had against Brandon Rios and being able to take me on to win back the WBC title, it's enough incentive for him to fight. Along with, of course, the money he'll make, as well as the sense of being the A-side fighter, said Porter, who last fought in November, defeating the rugged Adrian Granados. For him, just getting the fight is the most important thing. Myself, I was born a B fighter, so that doesn't matter to me at all. So I think now he has the incentive to get in the ring with me, and I know it's going to happen this year. When asked about the time frame for making this fight, the WBC president via email said, "We ordered the fight with the purse bid by end of May, so the fight would be around August-September timeframe." So Shawn Porter is, of the top heavyweights, and all of these guys frustrate me, with the exception of two guys. Well, really three guys: Errol Spence Jr., Terrence Crawford, and Jeff Horn. Those are the three welterweights. Those are the three welterweights that are considered at the top of the division, that have not actively spoken as if they don't want to be as if being the best welterweight is of secondary concern to them. Terrence Crawford has let it be known that when he gets past, if and when he gets past, now he's saying when, I'm saying if and when he gets past Jeff Horn, that he wants to unify the belts like he did at 140 pounds when he got the WBA Super, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO. He says that he has the same goal for the welterweight division. And he speaks actively about wanting to fight the guy that is pretty much universally recognized right now as the best welterweight in the world, and that is Errol Spence Jr. You have Errol Spence Jr. who said, now without the only person I've not heard Errol Spence Jr. say that he wants to fight, when he was in the interview after the fight, in the interview in the press conference, the first press conference for the Carlos Ocampo fight, he said that, when he's not looking past Carlos Ocampo because he knows Carlos Ocampo's coming to fight. He's not taking that. He's not looking past him. But then he wants the winner of the Danny Garcia versus the Danny Garcia Shawn Porter fight. That hopefully they can make that fight next. Now, I can see why he wouldn't say Terrence Crawford, because right now Terrence Crawford doesn't have a belt. And he's had his eyes on that WBC belt from the time that he was in the rankings for the WBC. And I do believe that it was because he couldn't get the fights that he could not get the fights that he wanted in the WBC and or the WBA, that he then took the route of becoming the mandatory in the IBF and then went overseas to fight Kell Brook to get his hands on the IBF title. And since he's been calling out consistently Danny Garcia, Shawn Porter, and Keith Thurman, that's reasonable for him to want the winner of that fight. And he said, as far as Terrence Crawford gets a belt, we can have that too. We can do that as well. So Errol Spence Jr. has been acting like he wants to be the best in the welterweight division. Jeff Horn has said the same thing. Now, I'm not sure if Jeff Horn is real about it. Jeff Horn was put in a situation where he had to fight Terrence Crawford. But hey, Jeff Horn took a fight against Manny Pacquiao. So, hey, man, and he did it to get a belt. He has not affirmatively acted as if he doesn't want it. He's had the belt. He took one voluntary challenge against Gary Cochran. I guess he could have said that he wanted to fight Shawn Porter or somebody else like that for his for his voluntary, but he didn't. But still, I don't see that he has acted as if he does not want to. Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter, from what I have observed and from what I have heard, both of them have acted like they don't want any parts of the IBF belt. And that's the one that really boggles my mind the worst is Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter is the former IBF champion. I think he won the IBF belt, if I'm not correct. Forgive me if I'm not. Somebody in the comment section can correct me. I thought that he won the IBF belt from Paulie Malignaggi. And that he lost the IBF championship to Kell Brook. When Kell Brook came over and beat him. No, excuse me, I'm sorry. He won the IBF. He won the vacant IBF, he won the IBF belt against Devin Alexander. Defended it against Paulie Malignaggi. Lost it to Kell Brook. Kell Brook loses the IBF title to Errol Spence Jr. The only belt, major championship belt, that Errol Spence Jr. that Keith Thurman has ever held is the IBF. He's a former IBF world title holder. But yet he wants to fight Danny Garcia in a title eliminator in order to get a shot at the belt, what would have been a shot against Keith Thurman's, right? Instead of just going to fight a guy has been calling him out, who has his belt. That's why I'm like, man, Shawn Porter to me is when I listen to him speak and I listen to his father speak, I have a lot of respect for those guys. They seem like very, very intelligent guys. They seem like, people that have a plan about what they want to achieve. They partner very well. They partner together. It seems like they work very well together. And they've obviously been grinding very, very hard in the boxing world for a long time. And they've done that together. And I know, because I have kids myself and I've worked, that it can be a major, major struggle to work with your child, to work with your father, or to work with your son. And the fact that they've been able to do that together for this long really speaks volumes about the love that they have for one another and how dedicated they are to overcoming those hurdles together. Same thing goes for Danny Garcia and Angel Garcia. They have the same dynamic. But at a certain point, you got to act like, at least from a boxing fan standpoint, from my viewpoint as a boxing fan, you should be trying to be the best fighter in your weight division. And yes, obviously it's a business. That is, I think, right about now, one of the most overused arguments for boxing fans that we have. Because as boxing fans, we pay to watch fights. We pay money, one way or the other. We pay money to support boxers in their fights. We don't get paid for watching fights. That's not how it works for us. So I'm not sure why there's such an obsession with, not obsession, but a willingness for a fighter to tell you directly to your face that they are trying to ensure that they get more money out of you than they're currently getting. It's something that is, it's something to me that's ridiculous. And I understand why somebody that gets paid for boxers fighting could be okay with that. And there's a lot of people that get paid for boxers fighting. You get referees that get paid, judges get paid, sanctioning bodies get paid, right? Kids and their family eat. People that sell them cars get paid. You know, when they give that money back into the economy, you know, hey, it does affect other people. You get the venues get paid, the promoters get paid, the managers get paid. All of those people have interest in making a fight be as big as it can be. Shoot, YouTube channels get paid. People that write on boxing scene get paid. Some YouTube channels get paid. Not all YouTube channels get paid. And I doubt that 99% of us get enough money to pay a cable bill. So at the end of the day, most people, even if you get some minor amount of money related to it, you're paying to see a fight. So why you care about how much money the fighter is making, I don't understand. Now, I will talk about the money that fighters get paid as a way to create new or to support a movement for a fighter to get a fight, right? Like the nonsense that was going on about with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, where you got a lot of people who are quote unquote fans of Anthony Joshua. And I don't really believe they're fans of Anthony Joshua. I just think that they, whatever they think, that, you know, they use the excuse of how much money Anthony Joshua makes and how little money Deontay Wilder makes as a reason to take a stance that would prevent the fight from happening at all. But for Shawn Porter to try to take the easy way to a major championship belt, Danny Garcia to try to take the road of the least resistance to a championship belt, I don't see how people can support that. I don't support it. We have a fight that, as I saw a video somebody did earlier today, even talking about Gennady Golovkin and Vanis Martirosyan. Now, if somebody were to say, and it's funny how some people will, when one fighter does it, it's okay. When another fighter does it, it's not okay. So, for example, you have Vanis Martirosyan fighting Gennady Golovkin. Vanis Martirosyan has never been at 160 pounds before. I think he's only fought once in the last couple of years, and he was losing, and he lost the title shots. He lost the title shots that he did have at 154 pounds. And now you have Gennady Golovkin in a situation where he's got 3 major championship belts, but he's going to take this fight with Vanis Martirosyan. That's an unacceptable fight because it's not remotely near the top level of competition. And he's been doing it for a while. I don't see that much different than what Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia are doing, right? By refusing to fight Errol Spence Jr. And even when Shawn Porter talks about the incentive necessary, like I've been trying to think for a while, I'm trying to, paraphrase Shawn Porter. What incentive Danny Garcia needs to fight me? What would motivate him to fight me? I don't know. Maybe he should be incented to fight you because you're a top welterweight, and then that would give a lot of value to the fans and would prove that he's a better fighter than you are. Because you're gonna get paid. He made over $1 million fighting Brandon Rios. So it's not like he wasn't gonna get paid over $1 million for fighting Shawn Porter. He was gonna get paid. He's gonna get paid no matter who he fights. He's with the PBC. You're gonna get paid no matter who you fight. But anyway, man, it's just like I said. I don't really care about this fight. I don't really care about this fight with Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter. If all it's going to be is an excuse, is it going to be who the winner is? The prize of the winner is the winner is going to be the next guy to duck Errol Spence Jr. And that's what I see more than likely is going to happen. And it's just a shame, man, because that welterweight division is so stacked, and it just could have such a high level of competition between each other. But you got a bunch of prima donnas. And with that, I'm out. Peace.